Hi, this is Jim Campilongo, and today we're going to do the On the Sunny Side of the Street B section. I hope you guys aren't getting tired of it. I'm not, but I hope you are, and I know we've been on it a few weeks, and might be the last one. And anyway, we're going to do the bridge. Now, we're using the Jim chart, and we're going to do the B section. So B section's like number 2 section. You know, it has, for those of you who don't know, it has nothing to do with the key. It's just identifying a section that is independent from the other section. And usually jazz song form and most song form goes A, B, C. So it's like 1, 1, 2, 1. And we're going to do the B section, and it has a circled B here, and we're going to do C7, F, D7, G7. Now I'm going to approach that F like it's a 7th, and it'll sound fine. You know, that chord you possibly could just play with an E major instead of an E flat, and it'll sound nice. And it just sounds nice, but we're going to approach it as a 7th. But let's get into it. We have 4 basic triads, okay? And that's what we've been using as our foundation to improvise. Written on the top row here, we have C for C7, F, and then D, and G. So nice, like it's a guitar gift that is, you know, it's just the same thing, 2 things, move it up a whole step, 2 things. So pretty much the way I learned, I would just do the same lick and move it up, and that's what I'm going to do here. Now, again, we want to approach each chord by half step. And again, it's that fingering I'm a real stickler about. 2, 3, 1, 2, up to the major third of the chord, which is important. And then 1, 1, okay? So that's C, this would be G. Here's A, here's C. Okay, now we have F, and we do the same thing. We're approaching each note by half step, just to kind of get used to it. And we go 2, 3, 2, 3, 1, 1. So we have then D, which is just like C, but up a whole step. Same fingering, G. So let me just play that exercise over the changes. C7 here, F, D7, then G. And I'll just do the half step thing. Okay, get the idea? So I might take a look at what are the common tones. So we have C, and that has C, E, G. Then we have F, which is our 4 chord, which is really applicable to blues. So, you know, keep in mind. And we have F, which is different than C, no commonality. A, that's an odd man out too. Hey, we got C again. So I could play C over my C chord and C over my F chord. Okay. And now we have the D chord in this piece, D, F sharp, A. Now, if we were looking at it like it was a 7th chord, it would have a C in it. And I'm going to get to that in a sec. And if we would bring in a 4th note, that we'd have C as a common tone between all 3 chords, okay? And I might use that. Now, then we go to G, and we have G. Oh, that's in C, so we have a note in common. B and D. So I think B and D, yes, are independent. So we have a couple of common tones. I might focus on the easiest one, which was C. And here it is. I'll just keep playing C over and over. This C right there. See how it sounds? No pun intended. Okay, so that sounded pretty good. It sounded kind of like C Jam Blues by Duke Ellington or something like that. Maybe not as good, but you know, it's like you could discover these things by ear or analyze them. And a lot of times there are common tones, and you could do something like, you know, like that. Go down to the B for the G chord. Okay, so let's go to the second diagram, and I'm going to bring in, make it more of a lick and extend the triad instead of, or from last week we had, that'll work too. But I'm going to do this. Okay, so that's just the triad. That's the first diagram, second row. And then 4, 3, 1. And if you do this lick, it might get you a little more. You know, kind of gets you where you can think of the triad, but start playing some lines that are a little more advanced, for lack of a better word. But this is fun. I think I do this phrase, well, maybe it wasn't on 2 guitars. It was on a 2 guitars video we did at Retro Fred. I just flashed on it. And I just played that melody to kind of bring it back home. So it's not like this is just baby stuff. Anyway, I mean, if it is, I'm a baby. So that's C, and it'll be D later, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Jim. A. C. To F. And we're on third diagram, row 2, and we go. That's F. Here's C. D. E. F. Sorry. Okay, so we got. Now we're on D7, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th diagram of row 2. Just like C, but up a whole step in off this D triad, and then. So as I said at the beginning, you know, it's just, you just move it up. basically. If you know it in C and F, you know it in D and G, and that's the progression of this song. I'll play it with the rhythm. I wouldn't give that an A+, but I tried to play well and play within the boundaries of what I showed you, adding some notes, adding some phrasing. At the end, I said that sounded like a donkey. Anyway, to me it did. But using the common tone and just make a loop and just keep playing and venture off and use chromaticism, that's half steps, with the core foundation using your triads. And I hope it helps. It's how I learned. Now I'm going to do one more little thing here, just this little double stop thing. It's simple. Okay, so we have our C triad. I'm on the first diagram of row 4, and I'm just going to go. Okay, and that's in C. Then for F, I'm going to go. And it's based off this triad. Then for D, same thing up a whole step as C was. And then G, just like F, but we're placed where the G triad is. So we have and I just kind of, I messed up a little slide, but you get the idea. There's from a mighty oak from a little acorn seed, and that's the triads, okay? And I hope that was helpful. I brought a couple questions, so don't turn me off yet. From Michael Lawler. I know Michael. He's been a student for a while. Take a look at the March. Oh, there is a great handout from Jim's Berkeley Clinic that you might find helpful. So that was addressing another question, and is why I like everything posted on the Patreon page, because someone asked me something and Michael answered that question better than I could. So I'm going to try and find that Berkeley handout. I did a clinic at Berkeley. It's actually on YouTube. And I brought like suggested listening and stuff like that, what I listen to and what has inspired me. And I brought this handout to the Berkeley Clinic, and if I could find it, and I think I can, I wish I looked before filming here, but I'll put it in the attachment section of this lesson. and Santiago Foritos. I'm so sorry if I mean you no disrespect, Santiago. Fiorito. I think that's good. Santiago Fiorito. Nice. Hi, Jim. Oh, I would love to have a lesson of minute waltz and no tab needed, at least for me, as I find your explanations good enough to get an idea of the song. Also I would like to do that. I just don't want to write it out. It'd take like 90 hours and I'll probably make 2,000 mistakes. Writing this stuff out is really a bear. Even this one, even this. And I'm not trying to come across as lazy, but sometimes it's not, there's many lessons that have been requested, like Folsom Prison. Over the years, I probably could have retired off Folsom Prison, and I just thought there's no way I want to write that out. But I see on YouTube, there's that guy from France. I don't know if you've seen his videos. The guy gets, Fly to the Bumblebees and writes it out. So, I'm just, I don't know. I do the best I can. Anyway, and his second question was, also, I would like to have your thoughts about the tremolo effect of the amps, like how and when you would use it. Geez. Sometimes when it's obvious, on, low note classic stuff. But just generally, I think of it as kind of an organ effect. And, it's kind of I believe, a tone thing. This sounds kind of like tremolo. Right? I mean, at least in my, maybe I'm delusional, but it doesn't have that poo, poo, poo thing, but neither do my Princetons. I always find tremolo a bit disappointing. And so unless it's my Vibrochamp, can we see it? Yeah, my Vibrochamp. By the way, those tags are my name and my phone number and my email. And some of them just say what it is. Over there, I have Bobby Blackface, because Bobby Black sold me that amp, but I've used it on all the Willies records, and I've used it on Heaven is Creepy and American Hips, et cetera, et cetera. Sometimes I say original speaker or whatever, or Celestian, and that's what those tags are. But the Vibrochamp, getting back to the question, is a great vibrato. And I think there's a unique circuitry in that specific amp that Princetons don't have, or any other Fender amp. And if anybody knows more about this than I do, and that might be likely, please post on the lesson Patreon page. But that's my understanding. And if I really want vibrato, I don't have a vibrato pedal, weird, strange enough. It would be like a pedal I'd always use, at least at sessions. But I just bring my Vibrochamp. It's very light, and I bring whatever amp I think is appropriate, and usually that's my Princeton. And I bring the Vibrochamp for that super tremolo effect. But I usually use it for kind of classic kind of sounds or low note sounds. But sometimes I think of it beyond that, and I'll think of it as kind of an organ sound. And if I'm playing pads, I don't know, could I do it on this? It's not really not doing it. For a color. So that has nothing to do with, it might be just to put some seasoning in the back. And I don't think I would do it on this, but it was close, if let's say it happened 4 or 5 times, it's almost like a Leslie speaker effect to me. So I guess that's about it. I did the questions, I did the lessons. Hey, thanks a lot for watching the streaming gig we did. I was a little nervous. It was our first gig, and which is, part of the COVID era where, instead of your first gig, you're at the 55 bar and you're, 10 pals are there rooting for you. You're just you have to play the songs right after another, even though I don't think I completely adhered to that. But, and it's in a, antiseptic, is that the right word I'm looking for? Atmosphere. So it was great. It was great, like a great opportunity. But there's nobody, there's a guy filming you, and there was my buddy Thaddeus who gave me a lift, and the group, of course. And I thought the group played magnificently, and it was a real good first gig. We have another gig coming up, if things go well, March 6th in Marlborough, New York at the Falcon. And, everything's risky, as we all know, but I'm hoping we can do it, and I'm hoping, we can play in a room and with some people there, because there's mainly food. It's advertised as food with music, but we could air it out a little bit. And I really want to just keep the Falcon going and all the clubs in New York going. And I'll wrap myself in cellophane if I have to. And it gives a waitress or two a job, a bartender, a chef, And so we're trying to do our part aside from the fact we're dying to play music. So anyway, we're all on the same boat, but that's just my update from my perspective. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks a lot for subscribing to Patreon, and probably next lesson, I don't know, I might do Heaven is Creepy, because a lot of people ask for it, and I think it's a good lesson. Anyway, I don't want to keep going on and on, so anyway, thanks a lot, and have a great day. Take care.